Right, so the interior, as I mentioned before, I was thinking about um, building it differently from the base kit, and so what I've gone ahead and done is lined all the floor out. I've cemented these two sections in here. These two pieces are still loose at the moment, as is the instrument panel. But all the floor areas I've covered with this. It's evergreen sheet. It's fairly thin, but it's got this. I don't know whether it shows up on the camera. It's got this um, sort of planking texture on it. I think it's used for model railway sidings and things like that. But it's useful for things like this because it gives you a bit of texture, and by the time this is painted and weathered, then it's got something that will take a wash and it'll show up, and it just adds a bit more detail to what was a flat surface. Constructed like a little sort of parcel shelf here at the back. Um, it's strange that I'm not really that familiar with this vehicle in the sense of its use in the TV series, but you'd assume a vehicle like this would have a tailgate. It doesn't appear to have a tailgate, so quite how the robot exited it, I don't know. But as it is, it doesn't matter because I'm not building it as the Lost in Space one anyway. Um, this section here, the engine cover piece is still loose. That's going to be painted up. It needs to be loose so I can access um, the instrument panel to light it and paint it and everything, and then that'll get fitted, and then this goes in afterwards. But this has been panelled as well using the same material, and I've got a few more ideas for that as well to add a little bit more detail to that. What is interesting is I cut the bottom off this, as I mentioned, so that it went below the level of the instruments. But it's a similar story here with these two pieces here. They're too tall. They actually obscure the instruments either side. So I'm going to reduce the height of those slightly as well. And obviously that's going to be in place there. As for the seats, I mentioned about the seats, the original seat, there's one there, being a bit like the ones off Star Trek. They look a bit like garden furniture or something, but they're not particularly rugged, or you can't imagine them standing up to any kind of punishment. So I've had a route around in my Spurs box, and I've found some seats out of, I think they've come out of a rally car maybe, or something like that. They're normal car seats. They're not racing seats, and they've been pre-painted years ago. But most of the kits I've ever built, as they've sort of, got through the years, I've sort of disassembled them and kept all the parts of them. So this is where I've got this ready supply of spares. The only thing is that with this being a car seat as opposed to maybe a truck seat, it's got quite high sides to the seat and the backrest. So what I've done with the other one, I've got two of them. I've basically scraped those back to make them flatter. So once these go in, you can see maybe the section there, the much thinner section. So these are going to fit in the cabin like so. I think they look quite good actually in place. I may have to take a little bit off the bottom of them as well to make them sit a little bit lower to these platforms. But they look a lot more realistic as if you like truck seats, or sort of some kind of survey vehicle. And then it's a case of what I'm going to do in the back. Now I did say I'm going to put a bulkhead in here. The only other scale seats I've been able to find, I found these two out of a Mini. Now they don't look too bad actually, sat together, which if they go against the Bulkhead, then possibly they might look okay. Obviously they're not going to be red and grey, but they might blend in quite well, and they do look similar to the other seats, just without the headrest. And they wouldn't necessarily need the headrest because there's going to be a bulkhead behind them. So I may use those. And I'm thinking of this now being like a four-man vehicle rather than the sort of family runabout like in the TV series. So basically, that's where that's at the moment. The only other thing I might have to do to these seats, because they're hollow on the back, is I've got some more of that styrene sheet, and I may box in the back as well, just so it sort of matches the rest of the interior, this time with the strips running horizontally, and I'll blend that in, and then once it's all painted it'll all kind of look the part. And so I'm going to move on to doing the bulkhead next. I'm still undecided whether to do a full bulkhead that fits the whole of the interior up to the ceiling, maybe with a doorway in it, or just do a sort of half height one that acts as a kind of sort of like a cargo bin in the back. I'll have a think about that. Possibly maybe some netting or mesh or something might look good, in order to separate the front from the back. And then it's just really a case of wiring up the interior lights, painting the interior, and then I can start looking at what I'm going to do with the outside. At the moment, I'm still deciding on colour schemes as well. Again, because I'm moving away from that look of the TV series where it was all aluminium and chrome and bright orange. I've been thinking of other possible schemes. I was thinking maybe of a red, or possibly a yellow and black. This kind of thing. That when you think of these things where they do these polar trips and things like that, they tend to be painted quite bright colours, so they show up against the white. So maybe that might look quite striking, really, and a good contrast to what you normally see done with this vehicle. So I'll push on with it and just look out for the next instalment. Okay.